We're back about 2 hours after filming the parts video, and as you can tell, with another car in the garage, this is why everything must go. But as far as today's video, I mentioned in the previous videos that I wanted to change the secondary air pump. I had the original one taken off and I put on another one from an OEM parts car, but this one makes a ton of noise. Like I mentioned when I previously bought the car, I don't know how many people are up to date on this thing. It has a code for secondary air injection system. It's just for one bank, it's not for both. So everyone kept telling me there is a vacuum line, but I don't know if I'm just a little slow, a little behind. I'm trying to look up and see where the vacuum line is for that, and I just can't find it. I can't find any diagrams online, and I'm looking in the engine bay and I don't see it. So I think I'm gonna have to take some things out of the way. That way we can get a more visual appeal on it. I believe if I just take out this intake section, you can see this is the hose that routes to it right there. So I believe maybe if I follow that and trace that somewhere, as well as the air pump itself, maybe I can find the vacuum and we can figure this thing out. Okay, kind of what I figured immediately after pulling that out. You can see that here is the vacuum line. Let me see, right there where I'm pointing to. So that line right there, it's super hard to see, but I believe it is cracked right there. So I believe that would be the culprit of our vacuum leak. The sucky part is that in order to get to this, it looks like you would have to take out the thermostat housing and take out everything in the way, which kind of is a pain in the ass, but this looks like it's leaking anyway, and might as well go and do some maintenance. But I would like to smoke test this and see if it's for sure leaking. I don't know if it's kind of hard to put your finger in there. You can't really see after. So I'm gonna go off camera and mess with it some more and see if I can find if that's the only leak or if there's cracking anywhere else. Another thing to take note of is that you can see some oil residue coming through. It's either, I don't think the PCV is leaking. I don't believe it is, but it looks like it's coming through this grommet right here. So I think it's time for some valve cover gaskets. Probably time to take the plenum off and do plenum gaskets as well. See if the other side is leaking. Other side's kind of seeping right there through the grommet. There's nothing else. I did notice when I did spark plugs on this car, it was starting to leak through. So when the time is right, I would like to order up quite a few gaskets and take off the plenum, go through that, kind of reseal what I can, what's at the top. I don't want to go too crazy because I do have paperwork and documentation saying that most of this was resealed. It says that they did valve cover gaskets, but clearly they didn't do such a good job. So maybe some other things need to be gone through. And I hope whoever did it, they only messed up that, because they were supposed to have put new solenoids and serviced vanos. They're supposed to do water pump as well as thermostat, a bunch of other services. So hopefully they did those recently and they did them the right way and I wouldn't have to go through and touch things up. I just thought I would mention my workspace is pretty tight if you'd ask me. Don't really want to take the bumper off because I just put all new clips and I don't want to break them. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep struggling, and so far one bolt down. Air pump is out. So this thing is extremely noisy. I honestly forgot the condition of the other one. I knew it didn't have any actual codes for the air pump, so I think it was a lot quieter also. So let me grab it from the storage bins, and this thing is junk. I'm surprised. It's super loud and whiny, but it throws no codes. So we'll see about that. Problem number two, now I gotta squeeze through here and find it in the bin. I can't even pull that shit out. There's no room. So let's see. I believe it's in here. Sheesh. I don't know how this is better condition, but there is the difference. This is the OEM pump that was actually on the car, and here is the other one. So this one I believe had 130, maybe less, 130,000. This one has 214,000. So it's crazy. It must have been replaced at some point and it's just extremely dirty. Okay, the fact that I can't see anything, I hope I'm tightening the right bolt. Nah, I'm just playing, I know I am. But that's fully in. Now it's gonna push in the line. Here to click, plug this thing in. Hold on, it's caught in the fog lights. Looking through the camera, I can't see. Okay, we're in. Everything's in. This thing's fully mounted, not going anywhere. Fully plugged in. And now I can get out of this little ass workspace. Sheesh. Okay. Secondary air pump is swapped over. It took 5 minutes. But 4 of those minutes were me struggling with space. But we're fully swapped over. So I'm gonna open up the garage, turn it on, and let's hear how much noise this one makes. Garage is open. Let's give this thing a start. Is that it? What the heck? You can't even tell that thing's on. Damn. I didn't really realize how loud the other one is until now hearing this. So that other air pump was definitely bad. It just wasn't throwing a code. This thing is so quiet, you can't even hear it. All right, success, that's good. M5's good with the secondary air pump. I'll hold off on the vacuum line till we can fully go into it. I don't want to start pulling stuff out, and I don't have replacements. It always goes down in a bad way when I do that. So I'm gonna just put this on hold. Air pump's good, it's quiet, no longer an issue, no longer will be a future problem. That's good. For the E46 M3, I've been neglecting the oil change and changing the oil level sensor, but that is something that definitely needs to be done. I'll come back tomorrow with that, and you'll see that right now. We got some chores to do today. Gonna go ahead and do an oil change on the E46. That thing was super low on coolant. We also were able to get air filter, so I took the air box out and I did find the MAF plug. And strangely enough, this MAF was plugged into the back of the alternator and the other plug was swapped. So I don't know what was going on with that. So I swapped them. Everything runs the same. I plugged the MAF in and this thing just immediately dies. So this thing for sure needs a MAF. But I'm also seeing some rips on the intake boot. So I'll definitely need one of those. And this thing probably has a couple other vacuum leaks from sitting. But other than that, let's just get the oil change done. That way I can comfortably run and drive this thing without worrying about the oil. We might have a problem. I don't know if you could see, it's kind of hard to tell. But it looks very shimmery. It looks like there's a lot of stuff that came out the oil filter. The actual oil draining from the car is just finally leaking out the last bit. Everything that came out the car looks decent, but the oil filter housing and everything that came out the oil filter looks like it's covered in metallic-y gold. So what's probably gonna happen is that I'm gonna throw in the new oil, check this thing out, make sure it's running right first, and if it's not doing anything weird, we should be okay. These things take a crazy amount of abuse. I'm pretty sure if I ran this thing with no oil, it would still be completely fine. So we'll fill it up, and if I need to, I'll flush it. But other than that, sheesh, the real beauty. What the hell? That thing almost dropped that shit on my head. What the? Look at this. Damn. Should almost give me a conclusion. While I was down here, I realized that our oil leak is coming from right here. So it looks to be its oil cooling lines, and it looks like some power steering is also leaking. It's kind of typical. It's really not that bad compared to everything else I've seen. So that'll be a pretty easy swap down the road. Definitely needs a serpentine belt, but surprisingly, it looks pretty clean. Obviously it's caked up, has 230,000 miles, but for everything else, like look at the oil pan, it looks really clean, and that's surprising. So It's really not that bad for what the car is. I just went ahead and threw in the glove box too, so that car is all set for the moment. And now finally to this thing. Oil change, oil level sensor. Tired of this sitting here, so let's get it done. I'm pretty sure if you've seen the community tab, if not, go ahead and check it out, because I do want to start posting more there and getting in touch with you guys, letting you guys know what's going on behind the scenes and getting your opinion. I posted both these cars for sale, and if you haven't seen the community tab where I posted these, and I also asked which one you guys want to see get posted, and I also asked if you guys want to see me pick up something else. So go ahead and go over there and let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested and want to know what you guys think, and if you guys would hate me and unsubscribe if I accidentally sold both of these cars just for the moment, just to get up some money and then get them back as soon as we can. So go over there, let me know. Good news for the M3. I just put my finger in there, and I'll do it again for camera. Let's see if we can focus. This oil is old, but there's not a single flake in here. There's nothing in the filter. There was nothing around. Oil looks extremely clean. So that's a good sign. A lot better than the 325. So letting this thing drain out, and then we'll go ahead and put the rest of the parts back on, tighten that up, and we'll go ahead and add the new oil. Old oil level sensor. Here we are, both brand new. New sensor, drain bolt back in. I do think they stripped it and they put in a different size bolt, because that is aftermarket. So it's probably what happened, but who cares as long as it doesn't leak. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw some oil in it now. Just double check that nothing's leaking, and then we'll go ahead and top it off. Everything's back in. Just to verify, the floor is spotless. So we're all good. I'm just letting all the oil drain down. I'll check the dipstick. It should be a little over full, hopefully right around full mark, because these things take 5.8 and I just put in all 6. So it is what it is. It should just be perfect, and then we'll go ahead and start it up and see if the oil level sensor is reading.